Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're joining me today because we're tackling a topic that is equal parts exciting and, let's just be totally honest here, incredibly intimidating. We are talking about the complex world of studying abroad. You know the feeling, right? You've got the ambition, you've spent hours picking out your dream course, but then bam, you hit this massive administrative wall. Well, today we're going to dive right into this and demystify the entire global study visa process. We're going to turn what feels like a giant bureaucratic mountain into a clear, walkable path. So I want you to ask yourself, what is really standing between you and a global education? I think most people assume it's just about having the right grades or enough money. But in reality, it's almost always the sheer weight of the paperwork. It's that confusing maze of consulate websites, the never-ending checklists, the impossible-to-read immigration jargon. It is a lot to handle. But don't worry, because this maze actually has a blueprint. And today, we're going to read it together. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the global dream, then look at the consultant ecosystem, break down visa types, dive into a case study on studying in Spain, go over gathering your documents, and finish with your next big step. Okay, Section 1, the global dream, student ambitions. Before we start looking at the individual hurdles, I want you to just consider this staggering number, 100,000. That is the number of people successfully guided through this process by just one agency, Global Connect. Think about that. That's literally an entire city's worth of people navigating this exact same journey to massive destinations like Canada, the USA, and the UK. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, just remember, you are absolutely not alone in this. Moving on to Section 2, the consultant ecosystem, navigating the maze. Because the global demand to study abroad is just so high, an entire industry has actually sprung up to help you. Take a look at this volume, 2.5 lakh. That's 250,000 students. That is the sheer volume of students helped by massive networks like Global Connect. They work closely with thousands of recruitment partners just to connect students to universities all over the globe. What this tells us is that universities aren't just sitting back and waiting for applications to roll in. They're actively partnering with these huge consultant networks to find vetted, high-quality international students. It's a massive ecosystem. But here's the thing, consultants don't just file your visa papers and call it a day, they actually tackle the academic prerequisites too. Because before you can even glance at a visa application, you have to prove to the school that you can handle the coursework. And yep, that means intensive preparation for this alphabet soup of exams, the IELTS, TOEFL, GRE, GMAT, SAT, or PTE. These agencies step in to provide coaching and training for these exact hurdles. They're essentially a one-stop shop, taking you from your very first practice test all the way to your final flight out. All right, Section 3, breaking down visa types, breaking it down. Now we're stepping into government regulations, and understanding exactly what you were applying for is absolutely crucial. So how do student visa requirements actually differ between top destinations? Well, it varies wildly. For example, the USA is going to require an F1 visa. The UK, they rely on a completely different Tier 4 points-based system. In Canada, they look for a specific study permit. It's a different framework for each. Now, looking specifically at European structures, like Germany, for instance, things are clearly divided by time. If you're going for a short course or maybe a summer program, basically anything up to 90 days, you need a Schengen visa, which is also known as a C visa. But if you're doing a full multi-year degree that lasts way over 90 days, you cannot use a Schengen visa. You absolutely must apply for a national visa or a D visa. Trust me, applying for the wrong letter can literally cost you your entire semester. Now, in contrast to all of that, let's see how a totally different part of the world handles things. New Zealand organizes its immigration ecosystem beautifully. They use Maorian terms to categorize your primary intent for being there. So, Toro is for visiting, Ako is for studying, Mahi is for working, and Ora is for living or residency. It's brilliant, right? If you want to study in New Zealand, you are heading straight down that Ako pathway. It's just a very clean, super easy to understand structure compared to the confusing alphabet soup of some other countries. Which brings us to Section 4, Case Study, Studying Spain, European Study Costs. Let's zoom in on a concrete financial reality right now. When you look at the raw numbers, studying in Spain actually offers fantastic value. Take a look at this. Tuition at a public university ranges from just 1,000 to 3,500 euros a year. For a world-class education, that is remarkably affordable. But you've got to notice the living expenses, 8,000 to 12,000 euros a year. Plus, you absolutely must factor in 400 to 700 euros annually for your mandatory health insurance. When we put these expenses side by side, the story becomes pretty striking. As you can see, the vast majority of your budget isn't actually going to the university at all. It's going to your rent, your groceries, and your lifestyle in Spain. And this is a vital takeaway for you. When you are trying to prove your financial resources to the visa officer, they are looking incredibly closely at that massive living expenses chunk of your budget. They just want to make sure you won't struggle to survive while you study. Another crucial logistical detail for our Spain case study is timing. Spanish universities generally offer 2 main periods to actually begin your studies. You've got the primary autumn intake, which is in September or October, and then a secondary spring intake, usually around February or March. Having this flexibility is great, but remember, and this is super important, your visa timeline must completely align with the intake you choose. You can't mix those dates up. All right, let's get into Section 5, gathering your documents, the heavy lifting. Okay, so you actually have 2 entirely separate mountains of paperwork to climb. Mountain number 1 is strictly academic. Honestly, before a consulate will even look in your direction, the university has to want you. You need to prove your prior education is equivalent to their local standards. You're going to need your official transcripts, a highly compelling statement of purpose that really outlines your goals, and of course, strong letters of recommendation. Think of these documents as your academic keys to the kingdom. Then, once you finally have that golden acceptance letter in hand, you unlock mountain number 2, the government requirements. And let me tell you, you need to be methodical here. You take that acceptance letter and you pair it with absolute proof of financial resources. We're talking official bank statements or scholarship letters. Next, you often need a medical certificate proving you're in good health. And finally, proof of accommodation. They want to see exactly where you will be sleeping the night you land. But you know what? If you just organize this chronologically, suddenly what seemed like an impossible task becomes a really simple, doable checklist. And finally, Section 6, your next big step, taking the leap. We've covered a lot today. We've talked about the massive consultant ecosystem, the different visa types, the strict budgets, and the heavy documentation. It is undoubtedly an intense and rigorous process. But I want to leave you with this thought. Deciding to study abroad means investing in your future. That is the absolute core truth here. All those language tests, the stressful consulate visits, the intense budgeting, it's not just annoying red tape. It is the initial investment you are making in a broader worldview, a global career, and honestly, a completely transformed life. The friction of the process is exactly what makes the destination that much more rewarding. So, armed with all this structured knowledge, the only real question left is, where will your passport take you next? You've got the blueprint in your hands, the consultant networks like Global Connect are out there waiting, and the universities are absolutely ready for you. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. Keep learning, stay organized, and I'll catch you in the next one.